Sigrun, you're very welcome to JSB Talks Digital. It's not your first time on my podcast.
No, it's not. Thank you for having me again.
Well, this time we're talking about the 7 stages and your SOMBA program. Now, I'm a member of your VIP mastermind, and my listeners will already know that. But SOMBA is something different. First of all, explain what it is.
SOMBA is the program that I wished I'd had when I started an online business. There's a lot of programs out there that are 6, 8, or 12 weeks. And it makes absolute sense in hindsight that you don't build an online business in that amount of time. And I wish I would have had a longer program to have more support and something similar to my MBA. So that's how I came up with it. Finally, I had been already 3 years in business when I created this program. So I drew from my own experience and from my clients what they really needed. And they needed more time. Not too much content, not overload of content. That's too much content stops us, more action taking, and more like a true MBA. So a true MBA is built up on case studies. So inside SOMBA, I have normal modules where you learn something, but then I always have case studies, and mostly from my clients or from myself. So it's people that I have coached myself or real behind the scenes from my business. So that's what SOMBA is, and we have weekly office hours and monthly mastermind calls. So even if you're not in a kind of a true mastermind, it's still a mastermind-like experience, and everyone has a chance of going on a hot seat. They just have to apply for it. So that's how it's a mixture of online program with the support of a coach and mastermind experience.
And how long does the program last?
12 months. And for those who join the program and pay up front, there's also a live event in Zurich, and we're expecting about 100 people in September.
Well, I can tell you that having worked with you for the past 9 months, my whole business has transformed. And I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast. I'm saying it because it's a fact. And taking action, you're absolutely right, is the difference between building a successful business and building a business that is perhaps just a hobby. There are 7 stages in the SOMBA program. Will you go through them for us?
Yeah. So when I was creating the SOMBA program, I wanted people to understand where they're at. And I didn't want them to start doing something that was not at the right time for their business. So a lot of people said, hey, I want to launch an online course, and they had never coached one-on-one before. Or they had the expectation of a 5-figure launch, but they had never launched before, or even a 6-figure launch. So there were these expectation. I guess this is part of the marketing buzz out there. Everyone can make 6 figures and it's going to happen basically overnight. And first you have to debunk these myths and give people a real plan of how it actually works. And it really went through my mind. It took me many months. Suddenly when you create something, it's there, but there was a lot going on in my head. How do I explain to a person that they should not be focusing on this in their business? And then I came up with the 7 stages, which is basically, we deep dive into it in the first module in SOMBA, but I do also talk about it on a podcast like this, of course, where I explain the general concept. And then we deep dive into it, and you get checklists and all that kind of fancy stuff inside SOMBA. So 7 stages of a profitable online business is basically a framework of understanding where you are in your business and what you should focus on before you move to the next stage. So I start with stage 0 because I thought it was fitting. I know it annoys my husband a little bit. It's like, oh, it should be stage 1 to 7. I said, no, it's stage 0 to 6. I love to call it stage 0 because you have 0 revenue. So it's easy to remember. Stage 0 is all about research and doing maybe some beta testing. And it doesn't matter if you're already far in business or starting out. When you start with a new program, I expect you to beta test it. Sometimes you can charge for that, but in most cases, when you start with a brand new program and you haven't built a reputation yet, you have to do it for free. I go back and talk about, I created a course called Passionathon, how you find your passion in 7 days and the right business idea. I ran it as a free program, and then I could start to charge for it. But typically I'm asking people actually to work one-on-one first. I said, if you can get 3 test clients and go with them through your program, and you get testimonials from them, it's highly likely you can then move into stage 1, where you can again work with a few clients one-on-one and start to charge them. And honestly, I don't care what you charge. It's just about having actually people pay you something so that you can, prove to yourself that this is worth doing business in. When I sold my first 1 hour of business coaching for $180, I now charge $1,000. So you can imagine the difference. I sold it for $180. I was through the roof happy. I knew it was not the rates I could potentially ask for later on, but somebody bought. They trusted me, and then I delivered and got amazing testimonials. So then I could start to increase my prices. And that, even if you want to go into online business and just do online courses, and a lot of people want that, they want passive income, they want online courses, they don't want to do one-on-one coaching, I say, please do some, just a few, to kind of test your process. And the key I want people to notice in this stage 0 and 1 is to write down what you're doing. Figure out what's your framework. Because later on, that is your course. And you can already start, even if nobody's paying you, you can start to figure out how are you helping people, what are the steps you're taking them through, and that's what I want them to focus on. But I don't want you to focus on creating a fancy website. That is wasting your time, because your business is going to change and you probably don't know yet what your business is about. Of course, you have to have a rough idea. You're a business coach or you're a mindset coach, you have a rough idea, but you haven't really figured out your messaging, how it's best to market your business. And I think it's a waste of time and money to build a fancy website at this point. You can easily use landing page software to get people to sign up to your list. You can, like I do, get some cheap WordPress theme and just put something up with a few pictures, but not maybe, hire a website designer at this point, because highly likely that a few months later, you will not like it anymore and it will be totally off, whether it's in colors or text. And then once you have understood that you have a framework or signature system, the next thing I suggest to do, that's the stage 2, is to have a group program. If you cannot teach your framework to a group, you can also not put it into an online course. And you may only have to do it once. So I, for instance, 2 years ago, I had a group program that was called Launch with Passion. And I created this program in order to create an online course. So first I thought, if I can sell this, and I sold it out. I sold it to 12 people, 2 groups of 6. But what I figured out, it was a wonderful program. Everybody launched something. They launched a book, they launched a podcast and various things. But that's where I found my love for masterminding. So it had a different result than I thought it would. That's why I do highly encourage people, whether it's just a small group of 4 people or 6 or 8, whatever, take your framework for a test drive and see if you want to create an online course out of it, or like in my case, I wanted to create masterminds. So in stage 3, I suggest you have a small course. A lot of people look at all these $2,000 courses and think to themselves, I want to create one. Now, well, it took me 3 or 3.5 years to create my $2,000 program, because I thought to myself, I don't want to create something from the hip and copy somebody else. I want to create my own. And when you want to create your own, it needs to come authentically from you and your work with your clients. And that doesn't just happen overnight or in a few months. It's a process. But meanwhile, you can create a little course or a membership site or something that appeals to you, and also start to train your audience with that and practice launching. Launching is not an easy task for someone who's never done it before. You have to create this buzz and excitement, and people are using messenger bots and Facebook ads and Facebook Live and all these little tools, and doing this all in one go for the first time is just a lot of work. So starting with a small online course, I sometimes suggest just to pick a number. People always want to hear a number, 197. If you just launch a course, 4-week course, 197, it would be a wonderful test drive to see if you're ready for the big. course and if your audience is ready for it. I have several clients, they're actually launching, all of them are launching right now, who have exactly taken on this advice. Some of them have already launched and they're going in their second or third round. One is even going into her fourth round of launching. Her price for the course has increased to $397. And it's been a wonderful way to see that they can grow and they feel very confident in the pricing before they go off to a true signature course, which is level 4. So in stage 4, I suggest at some point you have a signature course, because there's only so much time in your, we only have 24 hours. Some of us, like Joanne, they seem to use their hours better than others, especially for content creation. While others mull over hours for one email. You've probably written a whole chapter in your book in the same time, which is wonderful, and I admire that. But at some point, your schedule is full, and you need to think of a signature course. How can you pack all your knowledge into a signature course? And that's what SOMBA is for me. And it took me time to get there, and there's no indication, does it take a year? Does it take 2 years? And whatever time it takes you to create that signature course. And this should be the backbone of your revenue in the future. It's not going to be that right with the first launch, but the idea is, in my framework, that the signature course is going to hold up your business, so to speak. And everything else you do is like great add-ons. And once you have the signature course, then I talk about the mastermind level. Now, there are always exceptions. I created a mastermind first and then the signature course. But in most cases, I suggest you have the signature course first and then the mastermind. The reason is masterminding is a higher level discussion and coaching. And you have to get people in there. They have to have ideally done some work with you before, and then they want to take it to the next level. What I had instead for a while, I had a membership program called Lifestyle Business Academy, where I had all my webinars. I had over 100 webinars. Currently, this is not available because I'm doing something new with it. But this was a way of me kind of getting people to know me. They would join my webinars. They would buy the membership side program. So they would then want to go into mastermind. So I used it kind of as a signature course, but now I've shifted things around. Mastermind programs, it doesn't have to be a one-year mastermind program or a VIP like I'm offering. I also have a retreat in Iceland that I run once a year. I also have a mastermind day in Zurich. I have a mastermind day in San Diego just before the social media marketing conference. And so there are different ways to mastermind, but the reason that I suggest you mastermind is also for your benefit. When you have in such closeness with your clients, you get so much energy and insights and ideas for your own business. So it's a total win-win situation. So make sure you're in a mastermind or you create a mastermind. In any case, I highly recommend that. And then it's stage 6, to me, to wrap it up and finally have here an interaction between us. Stage 6, that's where the authority comes in, like writing a book, speaking. Of course, speaking can start a lot earlier, but if you want to be a true authority in your niche, you cannot avoid these two things, speaking and writing a book. And some of us have a book already and others don't. I have wanted to write a book for a while, but now I decided to start a podcast instead. And out of the podcast, I hope that the book will emerge. So these were the 7 stages. I went pretty much into detail, but I hope this describes in a way. And in SOMBA, we talk about what you should focus on and what not. But now I can always say to people, well, you're not in stage 4 yet, so you shouldn't be doing that yet. And it just keeps people focused.
There's a couple of things that I want to go back on from the 7 stages. The first is the action taking. Yeah. This is completely different to many online courses that I've taken, that I've read, and even that I've prepared myself, because there is a danger of killing people with content. But in actual fact, the learning and the value comes from the action taking. So the amount of action that people have to take to complete the stage to move on to the next one is excellent. The second big takeaway for me, and it's actually been one of my fears and one of my blocks in terms of developing my own online business, is that I love working with people. I love the face-to-face, the interaction, knowing them so deeply that I'm actually learning myself, because every day is a school day. And my big fear was that, hey, if I build an online business, forget about my offline consulting business where I have that face-to-face, I'm not going to see anyone. It's all going to be automated. And that was the big error of my own judgment. And I think it's super clever that you actually make people start a mastermind or join one so that they get that. Because, you know, while I'm addicted to learning and all my qualifications, I can't go to school every day for the rest of my life. My knowledge and learning comes from my clients. I learn from them every day. I learn from their questions. I learn from their problems. I learn from trying to help them solve their problems. So that has been super awesome. And then finally, I mean, when you reach stage 7 and you're finally a speaker or you're writing that book, you know, all of these things have taken me like 15 years of my career. And I totally agree that you cannot do it overnight. You cannot do it in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I've even seen, in my experience of being part of your 12-month VIP mastermind, and I'm now at month 9, we're 3/4 in, but it's taken me that long to even get clarity and position and direction. And probably won't finish after 12 months. So for somebody who's thinking of, and I think recreating themselves online, like my Irish audience predominantly, there's actually so many people that I know that I can think of that should be doing this, because they have the skill set, they've something that the world needs to know. And I think that's important. And that's the one thing that I think particularly women in business don't realize, is that you have something that the world needs to know and you need to share it. And like, if I could have fast-tracked my 15-year career and even my 9-year self-employed career into 12 months of focus, that would have been remarkable. Who, in your mind, is this program suitable for?
It's typically for coaches, consultants, trainers, somebody who wants to build a coaching type of business, service-based business. We do have a few product-based businesses, but typically it's a service-based business. To take a few examples, of course, we have people like myself, business coaches, we have marketing people, we have mindset coaches, money mindset, we have, personality, branding, life coaches, all kinds of trainers. And if you think about it, if you have worked in corporate for a while and you want to kind of step out and build your own business, you are a coach. You know, even if you don't call yourself a coach, you know, this word is sometimes like, ugh. When people call me a business coach, I'm like, no, I'm a business mentor. And, you know, and it's, if you are kind of transferring your knowledge, you are guiding someone, advising someone, you are a coach. And that's where this program is typically best for. And experts, you know, you're an expert at something, and we're all experts at something. If you have studied, if you have worked, you know something better than somebody else. And often these are things that you wouldn't even think that is an expertise. So I can think of one person in SOMBA. She is an expert in aloe vera. And she imports aloe vera leaves. And part of her business is being a supplier. But she has realized through the work that we've done together in SOMBA that she has to teach people how to use the aloe vera leaves. So in essence, she has a coaching business as well, even if she didn't realize it. And there are all these kind of different types of businesses where essentially you are teaching something. I have a jeweler, I have a website critic, you know, there's all these wonderful businesses that where you're teaching, coaching, training, and you're providing a service.
And tell me about some of the results that some of your previous SOMBA participants have gained. You know, I guess personally, you will always be on a journey, and we just have to accept that. But professionally, in terms of transformations, and then, of course, in terms of revenue.
Yeah, so typically it takes time, as you said. So we are seeing results maybe after 6 or 9 months that people have done a 5-figure launch. They've run their first virtual summit with 1,000, 2,000 people. People are kind of going to, some of them are going to achieve 6 figures in 12 months. But it all depends on how much action you've taken and how far you were before you started. I see it with those people who have already started an online business. We call them like advanced beginners, maybe. They, of course, achieve the biggest success in the shortest amount of time. And those who are really starting out, we've talked about this before. There's this self-doubt and confidence issues that come up. And that's where it's so important to be a part of a community where you are pushed forward. We have people that are, as I said, the beginning of their business. And that's why I put my Passionathon program as a bonus into SOMBA. That's a 7-day program to find your true passion and the right business idea, because I realized some people need the validation to go through before they actually start on SOMBA. So yeah, we've seen amazing success. People have literally taken off within weeks. I was now in Iceland on Mastermind Retreat Iceland with one of SOMBA participants. Actually, they were all in SOMBA, but one of them kind of stood out right away. And she did her first challenge within a month of joining SOMBA. She was hoping for 600 participants, but she got 1,200. And she had her first, super launch with 30 people buying her program.
Amazing. And if you are somebody that doesn't have a lot of technical knowledge or a fear of anything digital, is that a problem or can it be overcome?
Everything can be overcome if we want it badly enough. It's the same as, not having the time or money to join a program or do something. I see it again and again. I'm again surprised that if you want something badly enough, you'll make it happen. And same as with technology. We have people inside SOMBA where technology is definitely a challenge for them. And some of them will just say, hey, I'm diving in heads on because they have access to my 100 webinars of technical training. So everything is there for them to learn. But others say after a while, okay, this is such a struggle for me that I'm going to hire a VA. And, VAs can be hired from $5 an hour, depending on the language, of course. But in English, you can start with $5 an hour to help you with the technical stuff. So it's really just a matter of, if I want it badly enough, I'll make it happen. And if I decide not to do it myself, I can hire it out.
So you're going to give my listeners and your own viewers and listeners a chance to taste some of the content over the next week or so.
Yes. So we are starting a 6-day live workshop and mastermind, basically September 1st to September 6th. These are 3 live trainings. 2 of them will have a replay. The last one on September 6th, no replay. So you've got to be there live. Well, I walk you through the steps. So first training is create your lifestyle business. Having people understand that is my concept, that lifestyle business is about deciding what your life is and then creating a business around it. And some people might have a business and say, oh, I'm working so much. How can I work less? It's also understanding the concept of having freedom, having, make your dreams come true through your business. So that's the first training. The second training, we dive deep into the 7 stages. So we'll cover this topic in detail. It's always easier also to see it, see the pyramid and get some great examples. And so that's why we dive into 7 stages. We'll also talk about some of the myths around building an online business. People think it's, either too easy or too hard. And we'll talk about what to do. Also, they're trying to sell too fast versus you have to build up the marketing. And then in the third training, we talk about one of my favorite topics, my 100K formula, which we've not touched on yet in this interview, but I will show you. It's always easier through slides. I will show you how relatively easy it is to achieve 6 figures. I'm not saying it's super easy, and it does take time and it does take effort, but it's mind-blowing to people how doable it becomes when you see my formula.
So, as I said, there's lots of people that I know professionally in real life, but also through online, who I think are just ripe for this. And having gone through some of that process myself this year, I've had just so many light bulb moments, so many revelations that heretofore I would never have even thought about. And it's also opened doors to other opportunities. Networking with like-minded people, having people validate what perhaps you need validated by somebody else, by your peers, and learning so much in a 12-month period. I have to say, I think SOMBA is excellent. Sigrun's online MBA. It's a great name, a great acronym, and very easy to market. Is there a limit on places, Sigrun?
There's not limit on places, but we have a live event in September, and there will be a limit on places there. Okay. Because we have a room for 100 people. We still have spots available, so anyone joining SOMBA and pays up front, they get a free ticket to a live event. And if they can't make it, we will also have another live event in January. But September will be the first one, and we expect 100 people. And people are posting online. I've been seeing the posts going online that they have their ticket, they have their flight ticket. There are people coming in from the US and Canada and of Europe, of course. And it's so amazing to meet people face to face and not just do everything online, and build true relationships and network and have a buddy that helps you go also through the program and build your business. And
I've been to your live event. I've been to Zurich earlier this year. I'm going back actually next month, and I'm so excited. And one of my wishes this year as part of JSB 4040 was to visit a new country. So Switzerland was the new country that I visited, and not only did I visit it once, but I will have visited it 3 times in 2017, and it's just so remarkable how things work out. I guess we should share the cost of the SOMBA program as well, and remind people that it is 12 months long.
Yeah, it's a 12-month program. It's $2,000. Typical 8-week or 12-week programs are $2,000 as well, and you don't have any support after the 8 or 12 weeks are over. This is 12 months, and 12 months of support, weekly office hours, monthly mastermind calls where you have a chance of being at the hot seat and masterminding with me live, and then all the content, of course. And we are having awesome bonuses which are delivered by world famous leaders and also clients of SOMBA and my mastermind groups, where I see a potential someone before they take off, and I say, hey, please deliver a SOMBA bonus. So regularly, once or twice a month, we're having these bonus modules being delivered as well.
Wow, it's almost like attending business and life university for a whole 12 months. And just from my own experience of working with you and my colleagues in the mastermind, it's been a real personal and professional journey that I'm so happy to be on. But these things don't end after 12 months. All the thinking, all the knowledge, all the ideas, it's actually just a stepping stone to help you go up that ladder.
Yes. Yeah, it lingers on, and there will also be another chance for people to continue in the SOMBA program if they want to. But the reason I say 12 months and not lifetime access is actually to the benefit of the participant. What I've noticed, a lot of people buy online courses and they don't do them. There's even some statistics that's like 5%. I hope it's not true. I hope it's more. But buying an online course and then just thinking to yourself, well, I have lifetime access, then I can do it next week. And then it's suddenly next month, and then it's like next year, and they never do it. SOMBA is for action takers. It's you join and you have 12 months to work on your business, and it forces you to be focused and take action. So it's a win-win situation in that sense. And after 12 months, you look back and say, wow.
And where can people find out more about SOMBA and what's happening over the next couple of weeks?
So first of all, if you are listening to this between September 1st and September 6th, make sure you join the live training. We'll put the link,
I'll put it on the blog post.
On the blog post.
Yeah.
And then you'll put another link to SOMBA as well. But ideally, you join our training, especially the webinar on the 100K formula.
Sigrun, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on JSB Talks Digital, this special episode dedicated to people who want to build an online business or build an even bigger one. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.